I believe we do have Coach Maynor with us. Coach, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
All right, Coach, I appreciate you, as always, taking some time to join us on these media sessions. Coach, obviously no game for your Bulldogs this past week. If you could just kind of recap the bye and talk a little bit about your upcoming opponent.
Yes, sir. First of all, I want to apologize. My computer's acting up. I couldn't put my password in, so I had to grab one of my other coaches. Sorry about that. We didn't play this week, off week, so just kind of went back to the drawing board and go over the basics, fundamentals, tackling, conditioning, watch some tape, and just try to stay in shape and dot all the I's and cross all the T's and try to do the little things and get prepared. Start working for Bethune. We got a little bit of advantage on them where we had a couple of extra days to prepare for those guys. So just try to take advantage of that.
Thank you for those opening comments, Coach. We'll now open up for questions for Coach. If you do have any questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature. Currently taking questions for Coach Maynor. All right, our first question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Maynor, I'll open it up.
Okay.
Getting ready for a conference game. Since you had the bye week, is your schedule the same, even though the game is a Thursday night?
Yeah, what we do, we just kind of move everything back. So instead of it being a Friday, it'll be our Wednesday. Wednesday be our Friday. Tuesday will be our Thursday. Monday will be our Tuesday. Sunday is our Monday. And so we just move everything back just as if it was a regular day. You still get the same amount of practices. 2 days full, 1 day helmet and shoulder pads. Then the last day before the game, just helmets. So yeah, it's pretty much the same. We just kind of move it back.
Follow-up question in terms of the media. We get all into it, especially the fans, in regards to rankings. Team is currently ranked #1 HBCU sports in many different polls out there, if not most of them. Right there, top 25 in some areas in terms of national ranking. Do you have to talk to about that to your players or anything, or do you make sure that they're just focused on this next opponent?
Well, we always focus on the next opponent, but we're aware of what's going on with the polls. Being #1 in the HBCU poll, a lot of the polls, and then number 22 in the FCS poll. I think the new poll may come out today or tomorrow. I don't know the FCS, but we're happy to be representing the SWAC in both of those polls. And what I always tell my players is, they ranked us #1. Now we got to prove it. You got a chance to prove somebody right or prove somebody wrong every week. And so we got to go out and prove everybody right that they ranked us #1 and continue to win and stay on top of the polls. And then for the FCS polls, they put us number 22. That's a great honor for a SWAC team. And so we don't take that lightly, and we want to keep winning so we can keep moving up the polls, because it only helps our university and the conference that we have a SWAC team ranked up in the FCS polls. So we want to continue winning and move up high as we can in those polls. You never know. If we slip up one time and don't get in the SWAC championship, then we can go represent in the FCS in the playoffs.
Like that mindset. Last question I have is, previously as a coach in the MEAC, have you had a chance to square off against Coach Simmons?
Yeah, I squared off. Yeah. We played when I was at Hampton and he was at Bethune. First he was DC with Jenkins, and then I think one time when he was the head football coach. So my memory serves me correct. I think he beat me up at his place. So we got to go back up there this week and try to get a little revenge. It's going to be tough. He's always got a good football team. They're always well prepared. They're disciplined, and they play hard, man. So we look forward to the challenge. Me and Terry, good friends. So we'll chop it up before the game, and then we'll go battle, man.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Mo Carter.
Hey, Coach, when you take a look at what Bethune-Cookman presents on the gridiron after looking at their tapes and whatnot, are there anything that kind of stands out to you that kind of just makes you say, like, okay, we got to make sure we handle this or handle that when it comes to the preparation for the Wildcats?
Well, they got a good football team. They solid. the first game, they was in that game to the fourth quarter. You know, it was 17-14 going to the fourth quarter. Last game, they was very competitive for a quarter and a half. And then it kind of got away from them a little bit in the second quarter. But we know they could play, you know, and so they know they could play. So now what they're saying probably is they got to do it for 4 quarters. But they also play 2 FBS football programs. So they looking at their chops. Now they got an FCS program. It's a conference games, their first home game. So they got a lot of positive things going their way. And they're going to be ready to play. So we got to be ready to play also. So we look forward to that challenge. It's going to be a great challenge.
Awesome. And my last question would be, of course, this is a short week, but you do get a chance to play in front of a nationally televised audience. Talk about that opportunity for you, your program, and also for the SWAC, especially with the TV schedule we've been having this year thus far.
Yeah, it's a short week for them. It's not a short week for us. We was off last week. But anyway, national televised game, SWAC game. We've been having great games on TV, and everybody's been representing the conference well with the limited amount of penalties and just playing good, solid football, well coached, the games that I watch. So that's no surprise to me. I know these guys can coach. I know we can coach. I know their teams are disciplined. They play hard. And so everybody else is getting to see what we've been seeing all along and what we've known all along, that we got great football coaching. We got great football players. And we got great football teams. And so now America is getting to see that. So it hasn't surprised me. It's surprising other people, the quality of product that we're putting out on the field.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Stephen Gaither.
Morning, Coach. How you doing?
Good. How you doing, Steven?
Doing great. I understand during the break you guys got your rings or there was a ceremony for the players for the SWAC championship or something. Just talk about what went on there.
Yeah, it was Saturday. We had a little ring ceremony. The tennis team had won a championship, and we won a championship. So we had a little ring ceremony where we gave out the fellas, the young men, their rings from this spring. So it was a great time to do it. It's an open week, and you can get those things out, and now they can put them up and get to work and try to get to work on some more.
Gotcha. And and obviously, that was earlier in this year, and just you've been through that, but what was it like for them? What was it like for you to see those guys get that have that on their fingers and to, be able to at least take in what they've done so far?
I was very excited, man. That's what I work hard for. That's why we do this thing, is to get those guys those rings. We always talk about 2 things they can't take away is that ring and that little piece of paper, your degree. And so that's what we play. Those are our championships. Walking across that stage for your parents and winning the championship, getting that ring on your finger for yourself. That's 2 things they can't take away. So it was very gratifying, and I take my hats off to my coaches, but it was a total team effort from the top up, the president, the AD, facilities, the band, trainers, volunteers, the fans, everybody have to put in and have a say so in a part in winning championships. And that was what we was able to do. So I'm just proud of those guys, but that's behind us. We got Bethune and we got the rest of this year. We don't live off last week. We don't live off the first quarter. We don't live off last year's success. We got to do it again this year. So we're focused on Bethune right now.
Right. And then lastly, you talk about the polls and everything. I'm looking at the FCS coaches poll that just came out, and you guys are receiving votes. You're not in there. You look at Alcorn this week, they got their win against the Southland. Obviously you got the SWAC game this week, but how important is it for the SWAC to go out, especially you guys being the champions and win, when you guys go up against the other FCS teams on your schedule that aren't from the SWAC?
What did you say we were in the poll?
Receiving votes for the 1 through September 12th.
So we're not ranked this year?
The one on NCAA, the FCS coaches poll? Right.
Uh-huh.
Right. Yes,
we were 22 last week, so we dropped out this week.
Yes, sir. That's what it appears. You guys have 17 votes, it says.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're HBCU. See, you HBCU, you don't play, you drop. If you're one of them, you play and you don't drop. And that's the way it is, So that's why I say we have to continue to win. When they do give us the respect to put us in there, we got to continue to win to keep trying to move up the polls, because if we don't play, they'll drop you out. That happened to me when I was at Winston-Salem State. We won the region 2 years in a row. The third year in a row, we're number one in the region, and we don't play in the championship game because we got in a fight, and they dropped us down from the number one team in the region. So that's just how they do us, and as you can see, they did it again. But that's why it's important for us when we do play outside the conference to have a good showing and to win football games, to show them that we can play with them, not only play with them, but we can beat them.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it. Good luck this week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Coach Maynor, we appreciate your time, sir. Look forward to speaking with you again next week.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now go to the Alabama State Hornets. Coach Donald Hill-Eley. I believe we do have Coach Hill-Eley on the line. Coach, can you hear us?
Yes. How you doing?
Doing great, Coach. Coach, as always, appreciate you taking some time out of your Monday to join us. If you would, Coach, please start us out just with an opening statement about your team's most recent game against Auburn.
Well, you know what? Again, going to take on an FBS opponent, SEC. The experience is, was a lot of good takeaways for the players' development, for coaches. I thought we, gave them a great half of football before, they just wore us down. Had an opportunity to go in the half that with being down 7-13, but ended up getting a kick block, and they was able to score, and we went in the half 20 to down 20 points, and came back out. Saw some in their kicking game, and we was able to get an onside kick, but by that time, go second half. The game is basically it was what it was. It was going against a big oversized opponent, and the guys fought to the end, and but there was a lot of good points that we'll take away from it, and we'll move from there.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. We'll now open up for questions for Coach. Once again, if you do have any questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue for Coach. Our first question goes to Kendrick Marshall.
How you doing, Coach?
Good, brother. How you doing?
I'm all right. You mentioned in your opening statement about how playing a team like Auburn helps with development. Could you explain for maybe the fans who maybe don't understand, like, how playing a team like that can help your football team develop down the road?
Well, to go in and to play up, like I said, center 6'8", 300, the tackle 6'8", 340, center 6'6", 320. Them guys had so much size that, we don't face that week in and week out. But to see your guys be able to still fit off the block, still hold, shut gaps down, and to wide receivers still running routes and getting open, and the offensive line blocking those guys. One thing, it builds the confidence, in the guys to be able to, take on an opponent like that. But more importantly, the platform, the shot and arm that it does with the revenue for the university, the unforeseen benefits when it comes to the being nationally televised, to be able to promote your program, those priceless things. So, all those things are benefits.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Good morning, Doc.
What's up, Doc?
I'm good. I want to move forward past the game. I think you broke it down pretty well in regards to go on there. But you have an open date this week. Then you get into week 4. So if you allow me to kind of play that out in regards to setting up against Bethune-Cookman after they play Alabama A&M this week, how much that game will you look at?
Positivity. That's how we do it here in the.
Well, you know what? We'll definitely watch the game, and our biggest thing now is to continue to correct our blocking and tackling. After so many weeks of preparing, and even though we've only played a couple of games, you have to go back, to the basics this week of blocking and tackling and making sure you clean up those things that kind of lose focus as you get into the game planning. But we'll definitely, those are two East opponents, A&M being the champions, and with Bethune-Cookman coming in and not having a lot of information on them, being that, they just getting into the conference. So, we'll watch both of them, and being that Bethune is our next opponent, we'll, try to see, what we can see that may be able to help us the following week.
Thank you, Doc.
No problem.
Next question goes to Stephen Gaither.
Morning, Coach. How you doing?
All right. How you doing?
Doing great. Doing great. Wanted to ask you, whenever, HBCUs have to play these games against FBS, especially Power 5, people always say, if we as alumni and supporters will pack our stadiums, we won't need these type of games. Just wanted to get your opinion on that, being a guy who's coached in these games for a number of years, and just how necessary they are for the program, athletic program as a whole, to keep trying to go in the direction that they want to go.
Well, I think, Dr. McClellan, with the addition of the two teams and with the things that Dr. McClellan has provided to our conferences, that we're gravitating to that situation where we'll be able to have some rivalries, to be able to have pack houses and have games where, those games become, obsolete. Because when you are able to play and take these games, your FAMs and your Southerns and Gramblings and these other games that generate 60-some thousand people, Magic City Classic, all these different venues that we have, when we're able to do that on our own, and I think that's going to, one, it's going to benefit us as a conference, but two, is going to benefit us as HBCUs when we're able to utilize the opportunities we have now playing with these at these big conferences and on national television. I got about 20 emails from Auburn fans talking about the class of our team and the effort that was given out, and they've become new fans. So the more that we continue to sell our brand and put ourselves in a situation where people want to watch us week in and week out, then we'll start getting our worth. But until then, we have to continue to use these venues to be able to promote, more importantly, our program, but, definitely HBCU football.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it. Good luck.
No doubt.
Next question goes to Tally Carr.
Hey, Coach Ely. Good to see you.
Likewise.
I think it was a couple of years ago. I think it was the Auburn game that our guy, Weenie, Titus Howard, had a really good game, a really good showing. And when he went on to get drafted, people kept talking about, that Auburn game and how he held up. Was that a conversation that you had with your team? Maybe not that specific or just in general leading up to last weekend's game?
Well, you know what? There's still a lot of guys that was here that was in that game with Titus that are now approaching their senior year. So we've had that conversation that, the film that's needed for you to validate you when it comes to that playing at that next level. A lot of times it can be immediately noticed when you play Auburn, because they want to see how you can compare week in and week out with that size and with that speed, because that's what's at that next level. And the guys stepped up to the challenge, and they knew it was at stake, but they was just, as they went into the second half, they just had too much of what we didn't have, and that was size, speed, and depth.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Enjoy the off week.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Ty Miller.
Hey, Coach Hill-Eley, how you doing, man?
What's up, stranger?
I'm good, Coach. You talked about how Auburn fans commented after the game. And I watched the entire game, and being a native of Alabama, knowing how much the fans get into those games against no matter who they play. When you were in the moment for that first half, first quarter especially, and you were neck and neck with them, how did it feel just to know that you could compete at that level, and knowing if you had the size and the depth that you could beat a team like that?
You know what? It's one of those ones where, I hate to use this analogy, but it's one of those ones where you're on a shootout and you got 15 shots and they got 100. So you're going to be able to keep them off for a little bit, but eventually you're going to run out and they're going to overpower you. And but it for that quarter and that quarter and a half, it gives you an opportunity for your guys to go in and say, okay, if everything was even killed, we would have an opportunity, which is that quarter and a half, 2 quarters. By the time you add in the depth and the size and everything else, it's, you know, unless you catch one of those teams completely down, it's hard to, you know, it's hard to get a win out of those.
Back in 2018, you came out of the game pretty banged up. You talked about 9 players were lost for the season. This time, what happened? How are you on the injury standpoint?
You know what we did? We did things a little different. I think we were so caught up in the moment of trying to compete with Auburn that I personally think I kind of mismanaged what was going on that first year by playing guys longer. And this year I pulled guys, and then I made, we had Ezra, who was a game time decision, and and he was hurting, so I didn't play him at all. And then, with the other guys, the starting quarterback, I pulled him out, Ryan out around the middle of the third quarter, and just played everybody. So to utilize the game, to see where we were as a whole program rather than my 11 against your 11. So I think everybody learned something from playing that, that caliber, that type of team this second time around. So injuries were pretty much, we got our regular little bangs and bruises when it comes to playing that kind of game, but we don't have guys that's going to be out.
And finally, Coach Taylor and Coach Pugh always talked about that second week jump that a lot of teams make in the first 2 weeks. Being that was your second game, and even though it was against Auburn, how much improvement did you see in your team?
Well, you know what? The thing that I saw was, guys making the adjustments from that week one. Some of the throws that Ryan was able to connect against Auburn was some of the same throws that he missed against Miles. Defensively, to the gap cancellation on the run, we were able to fix some holes in that, letting guys up front know that to, not fall behind on the block, secondary, keeping coverage over the top. So it was it was a lot of things that was fixed, and then there's a lot of things that we need to fix in our special teams, and we'll take this week to make those adjustments. They really added pressure to our special teams. They blocked the punt, they blocked the kick, and returned it for a touchdown. And that put the focus on what we need to do in our special teams to show up those things.
Okay, Coach, thanks a lot, and enjoy the bye week and preparing for the next game.
All right, brother.
Coach, as always, we appreciate you taking some time to join us, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Hey, thank you all.
Thank you. We now go to Alcorn State head coach, McNair. I did see Coach McNair on the line. Coach, can you hear us?
Yes, sir, I got you.
Coach, we appreciate your patience. I know we are a tad bit behind schedule, but we do appreciate you taking some time to join us. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement about your team's big win there at home over Northwestern State.
I thought it was a hard-fought football game. Coach Brad brought a good football team in Northwestern State to play us at home. Good home opener for us. Had a nice crowd. Fan was great. The players, they strained every fiber of their body to come out with a win against Northwestern State. So I'm pretty much pleased with all phases of it. Offense, defense, and special teams, the way they played and the way they fought, coming down to the last drive to make the go-ahead score there with Felix on the quarterback run to go up. The defense came back and played tough with the last 4 minutes of the game, got a pick there, and we was able to go in a position that we've never been in before in a victory formation. So very pleased to see that with the team and the effort. The coaching staff was great. We responded very well, and they play hard. The group of young men that we got, it's a challenge for them every week. So they're up for the challenge, and as a coaching staff, we're going to try to put them in the best position to win ball games. So a good fall ball game.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. We'll open up for questions for Coach McNair. Our first question goes to James Hill.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, James.
That's a nice victory. Congratulations there, 1-1 as you move forward. You go into South Alabama. Can you just talk about the Alcorn mentality moving forward?
Well, it's our brand of football. We're going to play tough, we're going to play physical, and we're going to play fast. And that's what we try to instill in these guys every week of practice. to try and go out and compete. No matter who we play, whether it's on the FCS level or the FBS level, we're going to play hard and tough to get the job done and try to come out with a victory. Got a good challenge ahead of us. South Alabama going to present some things that's going to be challenging for us. And but I think these young people for the challenge and the things that they do, and the thing we're going to get them to do to come out with a victory.
Thank you, sir. Good luck.
Next question goes to Stephen Gaither.
Morning, Coach McNair. How you doing?
Good, man. How you?
Awesome. So congratulations on the win. Just talk about it. You've been in this conference for a long time. Just talk about the importance of going out there and getting the non-conference wins, not only for your program, but also for the SWAC.
I mean, it's a good thing, man. And I tell you, what we do in this conference, man, is very special. When we got to go out and compete against these non-conference teams, the top echelon FCS team, the Power Fives, the FBS schools, and just to put a good brand of football out there for this conference. It means a lot to this conference now. And I overheard Coach Hill-Eley was talking about them playing Auburn. Great showing, man. And you're talking about the respect that you get in this conference by playing those schools is very big. But anytime you can go and play and challenge a team like that and come out pretty close with no injuries at all, I mean, that's kind of big for this conference. Just compete. The way we compete is unknown. What we do in this conference and the respect that we gain from it. Just come out with victories in the non-conference play is awesome. What we do in this conference is going to be very special.
All right, and then lastly, the last drive, great drive for you guys to win the game. Talk about and be a big bounce back for Felix after the first game. Just talk about watching him lead that team down the field the way that he did, having been in his shoes before as well.
Just getting back to the normal, during the week of practice and during the course of the off week and the preparation through the game preparation week, what he did was get back to himself and do the things he's capable of doing, making the throws and reading the coverage as well, and did an awesome job this week. The last drive, we get the ball and we got to go and score. We're down by a touchdown. We just got to go and put it in the box. And the final drive was very special. He made a long pass to Manning Jones, a great catch. We ended up finishing the drive with him on a quarterback run for a touchdown. And then to come back, and then the defense played outstanding, man. They held it up. Came back and get a pick on the last drive, and we was able to kneel the ball down. So that was special. Just looking for better things out of the young men as they go along the course of this season to get better and compete.
Thanks, Coach.
Next question goes to Mark Gray.
Good morning, Coach. Congratulations on the victory. How big was that for you, I guess, in your neighborhood and throughout the Southeast region where you focused your major recruiting stronghold? I mean, when you can say that we beating Northwestern now, how does that affect recruiting and things like that?
It helps us tremendously. We had a feature visit this past weekend with some guys, and it was great for recruiting, great for them guys to see it, see what kind of team that we have and what kind of team we can be, and going out and playing against a Northwestern team, it was great. It's going to be great for recruiting, just to seeing that we can go out and compete against these teams like that. It means a lot to this program and what we're trying to go in terms of recruiting. Kind of helps us out a whole lot in that aspect of the recruiting.
Do these games not only help you financially, but to use a baseball term, sort of pick up your bat speed so that when you get into the rigors of your tough conference, that you are prepared to play at another level, which is where you have to raise your game to in order to be successful as you transition into a new division?
Well, we try our best every week to raise our level of play, whether it's non-conference or whether it's in the conference. So we try to compete each and every week. We go out and play a game. So just to get a win from a Northwestern State football club was very big for us. The kids, just like they exhausted everything they have to get this win. They played hard. They played tough. They competed. Northwestern State was a good football team. They was really good. I think it's been like a 20-year drought since Alcorn had beaten a top echelon FCS team. We played McNair State last in 19. Just going back to some of those schools that we played, just to get that win was very big for us.
And how did you manage like the physicality in back-to-back weeks of these two games, and then prepare you for what's going to be a tough conference grind as well?
You know, the biggest thing is once you play these tough teams like this, and you can get out of them injury-free, that's a plus for you. You know, you want to win the ball game, but the most important thing is to go out and compete and try to be injury-free when you leave. I think we did a great job this week. I think all the guys held up. They was a tough team. I mean, they were physical, very physical. But we found a way to grind it out and come out with a victory. But, you know, we just got to continue to compete during the course of the week. We did some stuff during the week, this past week, that we did a little different. Preparing for the first ball game we played, we kind of changed up a little bit. The speed of the practice is a little different now. So we're getting some good on good now. So kind of help us with the speed of it.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Coach McNair, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking with you again next week.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you. We now go to Bethune-Cookman University and Coach Terry Sims. I believe we do have Coach Sims with us. Coach, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Coach, thank you for your patience. I know we are running behind schedule here today. Coach, if you could please just start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing at UCF.
Well, you know, as always, you go into a football game to win the game. We prepared to win the football game. And I think we were in it, you know, until probably 6 minutes into the second quarter. And we had a couple guys miss some tackles, and you turn the ball over once. And when things happen like that against good football teams, you're going to have a hard time being successful. But we did see some guys get better. And I think that was something big. We had an opportunity to play some down-the-line guys in that game and get some guys some experience. So not happy with the loss at all, but I'm pleased with the growth of some of these guys. And I think that's the thing that we have to look at as a program right now.
Coach, we appreciate those opening comments. We'll now open it up for questions for Coach Sims. Our first question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Sims, short week, but you get into conference play after playing two FBS opponents. Talk a little bit about this matchup and the expectations going into it.
Well, we're getting ready to play a great football team. I've faced Coach Maynor a couple of times, once as an assistant, once as a head coach. Always going to have an exciting football team. He's going to bring a football team in that's always going to be prepared. Offensively, they're explosive. Defensively, they have guys that get to the football. And definitely special teams wise, you know, as I said last week, anytime you have a group that's solid on special teams, they give themselves an opportunity to be successful in football games. And I think that's what we have to look forward to this weekend. You know, a great matchup of a lot of great athletes that are coached by, you know, a lot of great coaches. And I think we're excited about it, looking forward to it. And, you know, I think our fans are looking forward to it.
One follow-up in terms of the short week, is that big of a deal, or is it that you are used to being able to adjust to playing Thursday night games here and there over the last couple of years?
Yeah, we're used to it, and we have a Thursday night game schedule that we follow, and we just back everything up a day. And Saturday we play, obviously. Sunday is usually a walkthrough and corrections and things like that. We just put a little bit more emphasis on it and turn it into a practice. And Monday is usually our day off for our guys, because we give them, you know, you have to have one mandatory day off. We give them an academic day to kind of, you know, do things on campus or whatever and actually be students. So we'll practice today, which is usually our off day, and use Friday as our day off. So it's things that you can do to kind of balance out that time. So you're not really losing anything.
Thank you, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Good morning, Coach. I hope you and everybody in the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats Nation are safe and sound. It's already week 3. Can you just talk about your ball club continuing to gel and guys coming together to work hard and win?
Yeah, I think this football team is taking shape. We're definitely not happy with being 0-2, but I think we played fairly well on in UTEP on week 1, and last week again we just had some mishaps here and there that allowed them to get out in front of us. But I think this football team, we're growing together, we're gelling fine. I'm pleased with the game speed that we're playing at right now. So I look for them to go out and have a good showing on Thursday night.
Coach, the opportunity to play at home in front of fans and friends and family and people who love BCU. Can you just explain what that means to you and your program?
It means the world. When you think about it right now, it's been 18 months. And, we were excited around here to have the 15 days of spring practice when we got it. And the kids were, our guys were disappointed the last day of spring practice just because it had been so long. So now to have an opportunity to actually play a game in our stadium in front of our fans is something that, you don't really have words for. It's a great time for us, great time, for Bethune-Cookman University football. We're just happy to be here now and excited to take the field and have an opponent like Alabama A&M coming into our house to play. I think it's going to be a great football game.
Thank you, sir. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Tolly.
Hey, Coach Sims, just wondering, is there any extra shine or is it just another game with the fact that this will, after a lot of talk, this will be your actual first SWAC conference game this week?
Hey, it's the SWAC champs, baby. So you got to, I tell my guys all the time, you got to play the best and beat the best to be the best. And I think right now, Coach Maynor, his program, they have earned the right to be the champs of this conference. I don't get into it was a spring season, it was a shortened season. They couldn't control that. So that's how we're looking at it. We know it's a great football team coming in, and this is our SWAC debut. We get to play the champs in our first game, and we're excited. I think, our guys are ready to go. They're ready to play. That's one thing about the young men that I have on this football team. They love playing the game with and for each other. And I think if you watch any of these football teams play, it's an exciting time. And we're excited just to have an opportunity to get back on the football field and definitely to match wits with a program such as Alabama A&M.
And how fun is the challenge taking on a quarterback the caliber of Akil Glass and the amount of receivers that he has? I mean, he has 4 or 5 guys that can get the job done out there.
Well, he's a pro. I mean, people can say what they want to say. The kid's a great talent. This young man has not only gotten a lot of hype, he has earned it. And when you look at his numbers and the way he plays, and he's constantly, you watch film of him last year and watch him in the spring and watch him now, he's getting better every time he touches the field. He's adding to his game. And he has a stable of receivers, that are definitely targets for him. And I don't think he has a favorite guy. He's a true quarterback that wants to win, and he's going to get the ball to the open guy. So it's going to be fun on Thursday night to get out and see what we do and see how we stop these guys.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Last question goes to Mo Carter.
Good morning, Coach. We talked to Coach Connell Maynor a few minutes ago, and he talked about the relationship that you and he have had through the years. Can you kind of just talk about Coach Maynor in general from what you know about, and also what kind of team do you think Coach Maynor is going to bring into Daytona Beach on Thursday?
You want me to tell you personal stuff about him or talk about football?
Well, let's go ahead and keep it professional, man. Maybe you can send me something on social media or whatever, DMY on the personal situation.
No, understand something. I think, no takeaway from any other coach on their staff. A lot of Glass's production, a lot of his growth is because of the head coach. He's a quarterback guy. He's one of the best that I've been around, great friend of mine, but he does a great job. Every team that I've ever faced of his quarterbacks have always played well. He's a great offensive mind. I think he does a great job with the offense, but his football team in itself, a lot of folks will tell you, most football teams will take on the personality of their head coach. And that football team takes on the personality of their head coach. They're disciplined, they're detailed in what they do, but they play the game hard. And you watch them on film now, and that game between them and South Carolina State, it was a great game to watch because it was two great football teams playing, and you could see down to the last couple seconds on the clock, that game was on the line. But he does a great job with this program, and I can't wait to stand on the sideline or stand across from him on Thursday and see what happens.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Good luck Thursday.
Thank you.
Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. I go to Florida A&M. Head coach Willie Simmons. I do believe we have Coach Simmons on the line with us. Coach, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Coach, as always, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. And I know we're a little bit behind schedule, so we do appreciate your patience. Coach, if you would please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent victory at home over Fort Valley State.
Well, again, thanks to everyone for being on. Should have figured Coach Sims was going to have me a little bit behind. I think he did it on purpose, but I ain't going to hold that against him. But great to get a win. Obviously coming off a week one loss, you always want to get that nasty taste out of your mouth. And so for our guys to go out, we didn't play our best football early on, kind of sluggish, still made some mistakes on offense, came out with too early turnovers. Then after the 30-minute lightning delay, gave up a fourth down, a short fourth down conversion on the offsides, and gave up a touchdown pass. And then our guys finally woke up and played football after halftime like we're capable of playing. And so, we played 8 quarters of football, 6. We've been very sluggish on offense. The last 2 we woke up, but I thought we played 8 really strong quarters of defense. And then special teams wise, had done some really good things. Hit a 49-yard field goal, had another couple of big returns, covered fairly well. One time the guy ran through 3 tackles at once and ended up getting to the 30 where we had him pinned inside the 15. But all in all, I think 2 of the 3 phases are really playing good football right now. Offensively, we have to figure some things out, get the quarterbacks more settled down and trust their eyes up front, be more consistent. And then running backs were leaving way too many yards on the field in the run game. So we've had 2 games to watch film now, so hopefully we'll be much better because we'll need to be, as we take on a South Florida team that's hungry for their first win after dropping their first 2 against bigger opponents. And they'll be the favorite. They'll be at home. And so we'll have our work cut out for us down in Tampa this weekend.
Appreciate those opening comments. Coach, we'll now open up for questions for Coach Simmons. Our first question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach, just want to talk a little bit more the bounce back. First half, the game was tied 7-7 and made adjustments obviously at halftime and got it going on offense. The defense continues to talk a little bit about what you were able to do on the offensive side to kind of get going.
Well, really, the adjustment that we made was just to settle down. I told the guys at halftime, stop trying to play football and just go play football. I thought the first 6 quarters of our season, we were pressing. The quarterbacks were trying to be perfect. The offensive line was trying to make the right call. The running back was trying to hit the right hole. Well, that's not football. Football is a reactionary sport. So when the ball is snapped, you just play. You have 6 days of preparation prior to work through the fundamental part. But once you get to game day, it's about just playing and playing fast. And I thought our guys were trying too hard to be perfect. And so we came out the second half. We kind of took that elephant off of our backs. We relaxed a little bit. And then we started making plays. Defensively, they've been doing that, all season, the first 2 games. But offensively, for the first time in the second half Saturday, I saw us play relaxed football, really just go out there and, make plays on the perimeter. Our receivers caught the ball, and instead of trying to make guys miss, they just ran. They ran fast, and quarterbacks, instead of trying to be accurate, they just threw the football. And so we really started to pick it up and play like we're capable of. And I think that's something that we'll have to continue to do to play good football, because the talent's there. It's just, we've been a little bit, off our game the first 2 games, but looks like we're hopefully starting to bring it together.
Defense, on defensive side, just giving up 2 touchdown piece in each game. Seeing Jackson State do a little more on offensive. Give us some indication of what this defense is looking like. They look like they're really and aggressive. A pretty special defense at this point.
Yeah, well, I've been saying it, for since I've seen them this spring, that group has a chance to be pretty special. A lot of talent, a lot of speed, deep on the defensive line, which is where it starts. Obviously, we always want to stop the run, and we've done that. 2 games we haven't given up 100 yards rushing, and that's a testament to those guys. Paying attention to their read keys, safeties getting involved in the run fit, and just playing tenacious football. And so we'll need to continue to do that. This will be the toughest challenge for us defensively that we've seen. They do a lot on offense, very multiple, a lot of formations, a lot of motions and shifts. Try to make you miss a gap. So we have to be very disciplined with our eyes, understand and recognize formations and adjustments and shifts. And if we do that and tackle the football, I think we'll continue to play strongly on defense and continue to put pressure on the quarterback, which we've done a really good job of that, the last couple of weeks.
Thank you, Coach Simmons.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on that victory. As you look at this weekend's game, you go into Tampa, and at that particular site, Raymond James Stadium, the Super Bowl champions played there. To be able to share that atmosphere with your team externally, even though you're focused on X's and O's in the South Florida Bulls, can you just talk about what that impression can do to young student athletes?
Well, the fact that we're playing in another NFL stadium means a lot. Most of our guys, if not all of our guys, have aspirations of playing at the next level. So for them, this is a preview of what that looks like. This is our second NFL stadium in 3 weeks. Obviously, hopefully the outcome is better than it was the first time we went to an NFL stadium. But again, great experience for our guys. Games like this are the reasons you come to FAMU, to be able to play in NFL venues, to play on national television, to go into games where you have a chance to make a difference within our university, in our brand name. And so we're very excited about this opportunity to head to Raymond James Stadium to take on the Bulls.
Coach, your running game, Bishop was able to get out and score, and then talk a little bit about your quarterbacks and then just moving forward with your offense.
Yeah, I thought the running backs did a good job of making plays. I think I still feel we left too many yards on the field, not being patient, pressing the line of scrimmage, kind of, predetermining what we're going to run a couple of times as opposed to trusting the blocking scheme. So they're getting back into the swing of things. I thought Terrell ran the ball hard for the second week in a row. Bishop has some explosive plays. Got to get little DeAndre Francis going in the run game because he's explosive. And then quarterback play, just, again, have to be consistent. I thought Junior came out, did some good things, but then started pressing a little bit, didn't trust his eyes and forgot where his check down was. And for a young quarterback, that's pretty typical for them to not remember that third or fourth part of the progression. So got to do a better job of making sure that those guys have game plans that they're comfortable with, and then just putting them in a position to be successful. But like I said before, the talent's there on offense. We just have to find a way to put them in a position to be successful and then allow them to go do what they do best.
Thank you, sir. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Kendra.
How you doing, Coach?
Hey, Kendra. How you doing, brother?
All right. As mentioned before, you played both of your quarterbacks over the weekend. Is the plan to do that throughout the season, or are you hoping for a little bit more consistency with either guy?
Well, the plan is to win the game, and whatever it takes to do that, that's what we feel like we have to do. And so, obviously everyone wants to have that guy. Yeah, I think it's important, that you know who your trigger man is. The great football teams, the Tampa Bay Bucks, the Kansas City Chiefs, those guys knew that as long as Pat Mahomes had a chance at with the ball, they had a chance to win. Same thing with Tampa Bay. So for us, you know, we would love somebody to distance themselves to become the alpha male in the quarterback room. Hasn't happened yet. So until it does, you know, we're quarterback by committee. You know, we have to play guys based on situations. And so all three guys that played this season, as I expected early on, how much, you know, again, is dictated by the flow of the game. So this weekend, conceivably, you can see the same thing. You know, if one guy falters, you know, the other guy will be ready. If we need more of a running element, you know, obviously that's Cameron Sapp's forte. You know, so Coach Black has a tall task this week of getting those guys ready to go into a hostile environment and be prepared to play. And then I have the tall task of being able to put a game plan together and call plays with whoever's in the game to allow them to be successful.
All right, thanks, Coach.
We have time for a few more questions. Next question goes to Ty Miller.
Hey, Coach, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, Ty.
Staying on that two quarterback theme, Cade Fortin gets most of the snaps for South Florida, but also Timmy McLean gets snaps too. So how much of a challenge would that be for your defense? And with you having a two quarterback system right now, does it also kind of help knowing what you're facing?
Well, I think when you play two quarterbacks, you do it for one or two reasons. Either A, both of them are really good and they have different skill sets, and so you try to take advantage of both, or B, neither one has separated themselves enough to be the unquestioned starter. So I'm not sure what their reasoning is. I haven't really studied them that much on that side of the ball because we have our own quarterback situation going on here and some things that we have to fix offensively that I'm paying a lot more attention to. And so, but our defensive staff, you know, again, I have no question that those guys will prepare for both quarterbacks. You know, they'll prepare for what they're going to see, and our defense will be prepared for what they'll see. And so I'm excited to see those guys go and compete. Hopefully we can continue the same level of consistency on that side of the ball, because if we do, it gives us a great chance to go in and pull the upset. You know, it's going to take our defense to play extremely well, as well as in special teams, until our offense really kind of gets it going to give us a chance to be successful. So hopefully we can put together a great game plan. I feel confident that they will, and I think that'll go a long way in showing how good this defense can really be.
And Coach, speaking of special teams, have you taken a look at Xavier Weaver for South Florida? He's a field flipper, the punt returner, and how key will your special teams be in terms of determining field position?
Well, you know, they're a Florida team, you know, so we expect them to have dynamic return guys, you know, just like we do, you know. So, again, our coverage guys know that we have to net the field, we have to cover with speed. Our punter, Chris Fadoul, knows he has to place the ball where it needs to be. Jose, our kickoff guy, knows he's got to place the ball where it needs to be with the proper depth and height. So it's going to be a challenge for us. They do a lot on special teams. They have dynamic playmakers. And so for us, it's a good litmus test of how well we commit to special teams. I think that will be a huge factor in this game as to which team plays the best on special teams, because I think that's always the great neutralizer.
All right. Thank you, Coach, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you, Ty.
Last question for Coach Simmons goes to Melvin Bill.
Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Hey, Melvin. How you doing, brother?
I'm well. To continue James' theme about playing in Tampa, playing in Miami, talk a little bit about what that does from a recruiting perspective. You have loads of players from Miami and Tampa on your roster. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, those are two hotbeds. You know, obviously Miami is the mecca of high school football. So many great football players reside in that area, but you know, Tampa's not an area to be slept on. The Tampa-St. Pete area is very, very rich in high school football talent. You know, we have a fair share of players on our team from that area. So we want to make sure that we do a great job of getting our brand out to those areas. We're not the home team, so we're not able to host recruits like we were for the Miami game, you know, but again, we want our recruits to know that FAMU is present. So a few of our coaches will take the road prior to the team arriving. They'll go visit some high schools and really just, you know, get the Rattler brand out there. Because again, in order to be a great football team, particularly in this state, you have to win the recruiting battles that you go into every year. You know, everybody in America recruits the state of Florida. So we have to do a great job of keeping our talent here at the state schools. And FAMU is one of those schools, and we want to make sure we bring our fair share of talented football players to the House of Seven Hills.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it.
Coach Simmons, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. We now go to Grambling State Tigers and head coach Broderick Fobbs. I did see Coach Fobbs on the call with us. Coach, can you hear us?
Yes, I'm here.
Coach, thank you so much for your patience. I know we are behind schedule, so we do appreciate your patience here in joining the call. Coach, if you could please just start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing versus Southern Miss.
Well, it was a really good, night for football. Great venue, great opportunity. It's almost like a return to home, where I've been. And I thought we matched up extremely well with them. I thought that, they were, primed and ready, for an upset. I thought our defense, played lights out for about, 2.5 quarters or so, almost into the middle part of the third quarter. But I thought, they wore us down, because we just didn't do anything and didn't do enough offensively, didn't score any points, and then put ourselves in position to apply pressure on them. We felt going into the ball game that if we could, keep it close and get it to the fourth quarter and score some points, it could put the pressure back on them. And we just, didn't do a good job of that, but we did see some really good things from our players. But then there also were some things that we didn't see well as also we've got to get better, offensively. We've got to do a better job of running the football and blocking up front, but then also throwing the football as well. They were really good on defense though, and flew around and tackled well and opposed some problems for us. But we're excited about what we've learned. We got a lot of work to do, and we're looking forward to going at another, really good program this particular weekend.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. We'll now open up for questions for Coach Fobbs. Once again, if you do have any questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue for Coach. Taking questions for Coach Fobbs. First question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and the G-men are well. Can you talk about moving forward? University of Houston, Grambling State, it should be a really good football game.
Yeah, Houston is a really good program. Coach does a really good job of throwing the football as well as playing really good defense. They fly around. Just looking at them on film last night. Very, very big and athletic up front. Really good in the secondary. Really do a really good job of getting after the quarterback. We're going to have our hands full. We talk all the time about these type of ball games, and in these ball games, there are certain and certain advantages, on those sides, that you have to get equal quickly in order to give yourself an opportunity to be successful. So we want to make sure that we break even in the kicking game because that's where the disparity can be the most. But then also we want to play well in the other two phases as well, offensively and defensively. And if you can get it to a fourth quarter ball game in a game where they feel that they pretty much have a check mark, on a victory before the season even starts, then the pressure, really goes on them. And that's something that we have to get accomplished. We got another week to get that done, to learn from our mistakes, this past week. And we'll see how that goes.
Thank you, sir.
Next question goes to Kendrick.
How you doing, Coach?
How you doing?
I'm all right. You talked about how your guys hung in there with Southern Miss for about 3 quarters before they kind of pulled away from you at the end there. How much confidence or a springboard can it be to play a team like that close going into another game against another FBS opponent?
Well, I mean, it does give you confidence, but at the same breath, you want to make sure that you're scoring the ball too. So on one hand, you're confident. On the other hand, you have to find a way to create confidence and in your offense. So, we're working on that, and we're going to make sure that we do what we need to do to get that done. But this week, you got the same type of team. A team that is a really good football program, known for playing really good on the offensive side, but then also they're extremely athletic defensively. So it's the same type of ball game. And we got to, learn from what we didn't do last week because we got another chance to get it done.
Thanks.
Next question goes to Tolly.
Hey, good morning, Coach Fobbs.
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Carr?
Good, good. I was wondering, I think it was Coach Pugh earlier on the MEAC call. He was talking about their game against Clemson and how the play count, when it gets higher sometimes in a game against FBS opponents, and it's almost like you're playing an extra quarter of a two, and then you really start to even see a bigger difference. Is play count an analytical thing that you look at, or are you just against the FBS opponent, or are you just worried about too many other things?
Well, for me, play count on our bodies, on the kid, is more of our focus. When we travel and play in these type of ball games, our focus is the number of plays on the kid. And I guess that does, equate to play count, the total play count offensively, defensively, and in a kicking game. But more so, we're looking at the play count on the bodies. We want to try to make sure that we keep the play count, around 30 plays, a piece, for each one of our players. And that's really what we try to do, especially of a game of this magnitude. You want to win the football game, and you're going in it to be competitive and win the football game, but you also have to understand the bigger picture as well. The bigger picture is, you're going after the conference championship, just like all of the schools are in our league. And that's really, you have to make sure that you focus on that, even though you are, going after the victory as well.
All right. Thanks a lot, Coach. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Luke. Luke, you're on mute there, sir.
I'm sorry, Coach Fobbs. I remember a few years ago you went into Arizona. You threw a big scare into Arizona on the road. What are the elements? And I remember in the after the game, you talked about the elements that Arizona was playing. I think their second or third string quarterback. They had some things like that going on. What are the elements that usually give you a real opportunity to win these kinds of games?
Well, it first starts with the opponent that you're playing. It has to be the right time. It has to be a situation where, they're having struggles as well, maybe at the quarterback position more so than anything. But then also, there are certain issues that you see from them that really, gives you that chance, and gives you that opportunity. But then also the second hurdle for me is, they have 22 more scholarships than you do. So when that happens, then you have to, where that normally takes place, where you see it the most is in the kicking game. And you want to try your best to break even in the kicking game and not allow, any big, huge plays in the kicking game. And then there's the offense and defensive side, where now you need to take advantage, of their mistakes, because they're going to make mistakes, but you have to do a really good job of taking advantage of those mistakes. And then you have to nullify the big plays. If you force them, to drive the field and eliminate the big plays, the more and more you stay in those type of ball games, the more and more the pressure flips from you to them. Even though there's really, not much pressure, on a team of our magnitude in these type of ball games, they come into it extremely confident. And they really, before the season even starts, they look at their schedule and they go through it and they check off the boxes. This is a win, this is a win, this is a maybe, this is a maybe. They do that, because I've been on that level and I understand how that goes. So you just want to try to apply pressure and switch the pressure back on them. Because if it's a program that's not used to being successful and it's not used to winning, and preferably championships, then when they get in a pressure situation, you can be right there to catch whatever falls off the table. And that's really what the goal is to keep everything in its proper perspective, to play hard, to try to win the football game and go at it to win the football game, but also keep the mindset that, you want to make sure, that you're keeping everything in the proper perspective, because there's also bigger fish, that happens later on. I remember vividly, in that particular ball game, our quarterback got hurt early in the second quarter, and he wanted to go back in the game. And we were in a situation to win the game, but we just felt it was bigger fish to fry. And, we held him out because we were playing a really good SWAC opponent the next week. And we wanted to make sure we were prepared, for that particular game. And we had felt we had learned everything we needed to learn, coming out of that ball game.
Thanks for the answer, Coach. And I know you held them out, and you were very successful going down the road. So good success for you as you go into Houston. Thanks for the answer.
Coach Fobbs, we appreciate you taking some time to join us, and we look forward to speaking with you next week.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. We now go to the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff and head coach Doc Gamble. I did see Coach Gamble on the call. Coach, can you hear us?
Yes.
Coach, thank you so much for joining us, and obviously thank you so much for your patience. I know we are behind schedule here today, so we do appreciate your patience in joining the call. Coach, obviously no game for your Golden Lions this past week. If you can kind of recap the bye and talk a little bit about your upcoming opponent.
Well, just like any other bye week, this past week, last week was about us and getting guys rested. We forced them to stay away from the building and forced them guys to try to do something else, more so academically, not to do anything else, but more so focus on the academics, and a little bit less football. We did practice a few days last week, but it was more about us and then getting back into here. And these guys are excited. I'm looking forward to getting back to work there so we get started on our next opponent here this week.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach Gamble. Now for questions for Coach. Our first question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Gamble, you're taking all obviously in-state opponent, FCA. As of last week, they were a top 20 team. They had another tough loss themselves. But as you prepare for this game, more about what you see in Central Arkansas.
Although they've lost two, they're still a very good football team. I see when I watch the video of those guys as we prepare, you see a good football team. You see a tremendous quarterback play, a kid with great arm talent. You see real good skill guys outside. You see a defense that's stingy at times, and you'll see special teams units that are solid. So they're still a very good football team. They've played some close games the last two and just didn't come away with the W. But other than that, they don't have any glaring weaknesses. So it's one we have to prepare for, and we're looking forward to going to play them.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and the guys are well. Can you just talk a little bit about Prairie and the guys, your offensive attack? It's very potent, and guys are really competing. And then Central Arkansas, your thoughts on them?
Well, Skylar's doing well, and he's the straw that stirs the drink. We put a lot on his table. And he has some other guys around him that are doing it really well. That's going to help him continue to play well. We do have some weapons, and we want to make sure we're utilizing them. We got to still continue, although we have some things we do well on offense. I still rely on our defense. We still, at the end of the day, we got to be able to beat somebody 2-0. So we put a lot on them to get it done for us. So we're just not saying, hey, the offensive guys didn't play too well. So, but it's on the defense for us. Central Arkansas, again, they're very coached. They're well coached. You can see it on video. They're solid in all phases of the game. The quarterback is a tremendous talent. He gets it done. Their quarterback allowed their receivers to make plays. So, and you don't see that with a lot of guys. Their Q, he puts it in the area to. He very seldom throws a bad pass. And that's a rarity. But they're a good football team, and for us is they've lost two. Let's make sure they don't get their first one, this week.
Thank you, sir.
Right.
Next question goes to E. Taylor.
What's going on, Coach? How you doing, brother?
I'm good. How about yourself, E?
I'm making it, man. PB and UCA has, half history. They used to play quite a bit back in the day. Hadn't played in a while. But has there been any kind of extra motivation or excitement around the field house going into this game that you've noticed, or is it kind of like an even keel type thing where it's just the next game up for you guys?
Well, the good thing about for us is we don't know too much of the past history, because it's been a long time since we've played it. So we're always excited about the next opponent, no matter who it is. So we're looking forward to going out and playing some football. It doesn't matter who it is. We got a game at the end of this week, and we're looking forward to going to play them. So it doesn't matter whoever it may be.
One more. I mean, you mentioned about UCA and their quarterback and their receivers. They got two really good receivers on the outside. How you guys matching up with how you think you guys' defensive secondary matches up with those guys on offense?
It's going to be a good matchup. I mean, it's going to be a sight to see. We got good DBs. We got good players. And I don't shy away from telling anybody that. You really have to be around us every day to see what we have. And we got some depth now. So, but they're going to have a challenge. Those two guys might potentially that they have, you may end up seeing playing on Sundays, both of them. They go up and track the football as well as any wide out I've seen in a long time. So they're long. They got great hand-eye coordination. There's some good. There's some really good. They are both of the guys are some really good football players, but we got some good players too. We're gonna look forward to going and challenging.
Good deal. Appreciate it, brother.
Coach Gamble.
Yes, go ahead.
Do we have any more questions for Coach? Last question goes to Ty Miller.
Hey, Coach. Good morning to you. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm good, Coach. You mentioned Braylon Smith, the quarterback for Central Arkansas. They seem to have taken a big step from their first to second game, especially when they got into that fourth quarter shootout with Missouri State. How important will it be for your defense to stay on cue for all four quarters to make sure when the game gets late and if it's on the line that they play the way you expect them to?
Well, for us, we're looking to take a big step to our next game as well. Your biggest growth, a lot of times it can be seen from your first game to your next. So we have a lot of improvement that we need to see come into play here this Saturday. So I think if we're improved from what we did in our first game, I think we'll be fine. We'll be really good against what they do. They do a lot. Their offense has what I like to call some great imagination. They do a lot of things. And they do them really well, and for us, we gonna have to do what we do really well. But it's gonna be a really good matchup. I really think so. We gave up a deep ball against Lane, and that's one thing that they really do well. We just got a little lax. So we're gonna have to be able to handle the deep ball for sure. Like I said, the quarterback is very accurate. I mean, he's a very efficient passer.
All right, thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking with you again next week.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. We now go to Mississippi Valley State head coach Vincent Dancy. I do see Coach Dancy here on the line. Coach, can you hear us?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Outstanding. Coach, thank you for your patience. I know we're behind schedule. We do appreciate your patience in joining the call. Coach, if you would, please just kind of talk a little bit about this past week and also kind of preview your upcoming opponent.
This past week, we just wanted to really focus on ourselves, focus on our technique, the fundamentals, work on the things that we needed to improve on or get better at in certain areas and situations of the game. But also just wanted to get healthy, sat some guys out this week so they can get healthy, so they can be full strength in order to, go into this tough opponent who we're facing this week, which is Stephen F. Austin, a good, solid football team, good in all three phases of the game. Well-coached team, very good on defense. They like to fly around, bring a lot of pressure. So we got our hands full this week, but hopefully we practiced enough last week to, like I said, correct some of those mistakes that we made our first week out.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach Dancy. We'll open it up for questions for Coach. Once again, if you do have any questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue for Coach. Floor is open for questions. Our first question goes to Ty Miller.
Hey, Coach, good morning to you.
Good morning.
You talk about Stephen F. Austin from the standpoint that they went into that game against Texas Tech, a 31-point underdog, but they almost upset that team, 28-22 the final score. How much of a challenge would this be, knowing that how good of a team you're facing?
Like I said, it's a good football team. I think it's more about what we can do better than we did our first upcoming week. I think we just got to go out and play hard, play fast, and tackle better. And defensively, offensively, we just got to be more efficient and understand what we can do good and what we can't do against this good football team. Like you said, they made a drastic improvement from week 1 playing Tarleton State to week 2, and I think you should see that throughout college football. You should get better week in and week out. So yes, we got our hands full, but I think it's just come down to execution. Whoever execute the plays the best, that's who wins the game, no matter who's the opponent. And I think you've seen that when they played Texas Tech. You know, Texas Tech is a big FBS team, but I think Stephen F. Austin executed well against Texas Tech. So you're seeing that drastic improvement from week 1 to week 2. But I think we just got to go out and play fundamentally sound football. Don't give up the big plays. Play all 3 phases of the game well, including special team. And then just take advantage when they make mistakes, especially on defense. When they're blitzing a lot of times, just take advantage of some of those holes in those defenses that we see and try to execute the play.
In games like this, Coach, oftentimes you expect, people expect that one team is going to really blow another team out. But if you take a look at this past weekend, for example, Jacksonville State, they went into Florida State and pulled off a huge upset. So in terms of motivating your team and talking to your players before the game, how much of confidence does that give you that these things can happen?
We talk about it all the time because, at the end of the day, we're always the underdog, no matter who we playing. It could be Stephen F. Austin. It could be a team in our conference. We always the underdog. So we always speaking about overcoming adversity. And, I think these guys understand it. They understand where I'm coming from when I'm talking about it. But I think at the end of the day, I think at every level of football, we've all seen throughout these first 2 weeks, it's been an upset somewhere. And I think the only way you upset a team is you go in and you feel confident first in yourself, but also in the schematic of things, what you're doing. But we have to go out and execute. I think the main goal in football everywhere you go is execution, offensively and defensively. And defensively, that's being able to run fast and tackle hard. That's the number one goal. And offensively, just being efficient. You may not score the first drive, you may not score the second drive, but being able to move the ball and be able to have better field position in order to keep our defense, not keeping our defense on the field, but having better field position so we can be able to do what we want to do in terms of working the clock, being able to manage time, being able to work those field areas that we need to work and be in order to put ourselves in a better position to win the game.
And from the standpoint of game planning, how important will time of possession for your offense be in this game in terms of limiting the number of plays that your defense has to play?
It's crucial. I think it's crucial. Time management is going to be crucial. We want to win the time of possession battle. So that's why we can't be 3 and out all the time. That's why we got to run the ball. We got to be able to execute some of those runs and be able to establish our run game against Stephen F. Austin.
Thank you, Coach, and good luck this weekend.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Dancy, I wanted to get a little more of that schematic approach to the game that you talked about, specifically on your defense. What are some things that you're looking at doing against Stephen F. Austin in terms of what you're able to do attacking defense that you like to play?
We like I said, this week we just got back to the fundamentals of things, knowing how to fit up, knowing where our run fits are, being able tackling. We, like I said, against Murray State, that was our biggest thing. We just missed a lot of tackles, and on the big runs, we was out of position, we was out of gaps. So we wanted to go back just to the basic, where we fit in our scheme, and also just tackling. It's nothing special that we would do. Of course, we're gonna play the defense that we play, and That's 4-2-5 defense. We're playing a base coverage behind it, but we're gonna do what we do, but we just gotta execute better in the scheme of things. And I think that's just running to the ball and being able to tackle well and being able to remain in our one gap defense.
Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Last question goes to James Hill.
Coach Dancy, I hope you and everybody at Valley are well these days. Can you talk a little bit about, just explain the importance of ball security, and not only that, but just executing and moving the chains and just running the ball, the running game?
Right. We have to take care of the ball. As you know, turnovers can kill any team. It can kill the momentum of any team. So we have to limit the turnover battle, and that's what we don't want to do, turn it over against a good team and put them in a position where they can score easily, especially when you're talking about the area of the field. So we want to eliminate those turnovers, but we got to run the ball in order to manage the clock. But also we want to establish the run, because I think establishing the run sets up the pass, and we want to pass the ball around, but we know we have to establish the run. But by doing so, I know we got two good dynamic running backs. We just got to get them more touches. I think the more touches they have, the more attempts they get, the better that they are, and the better that our team will be, the better that our offense will be, the more attempts that we get these guys to run the ball. We want to be physical up front. We want to run the ball. So I think the only way we do it is we just got to have more attempts at it. And then we take our shots after that. So like I said, we want to go into the game and establish a running game against these guys, and play time of possession football, limit their opportunities by keeping them off the field offensively, and also taking our shots when time comes.
Thank you, sir. Good luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Coach, as always, we appreciate you taking some time to join us, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right.
We now go to Prairie View A&M and head coach Eric Dooley. I see Coach Dooley on the call. Coach, can you hear us?
Yes.
Coach, thank you so much for your patience here joining the call. Coach, if you would please just start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing versus Incarnate Word.
Well, we went into Incarnate Word, and we knew it was going to be a challenge for us, but we was up for the challenge. I thought that the guys was well prepared and was ready to play. Just came into a situation to where we just turned the football over too much. Can't have that many turnover, expect to be successful against a good football team, even against a football team, period. So that was some of the things, but I even in that loss right there, I see some things that we were able to correct. I know everybody said that the old cliche is you get better your second game, or I know we had a very explosive game our first outing and came back and didn't appear to be the same. But I still like where our team is at, and I understand what we went through, but it was lesson learned. Some of the things that took place in that game, those items have been corrected, and we're going to move forward, looking forward to getting ready to play another team out of the same conference.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach, I want to talk about the preview before we move forward. While the score may not have indicated, you talked about some things that went well in that game. Could you talk about particularly some players that were out in that game that you could focus on particularly?
You kind of faded in and out. Say it again. You say some players that played well in that game?
Yeah, was there any that played particularly well in that game that you could speak to?
Yeah, I thought the guy, Kobe Washington, he played well. That was his first outing. I know he's coming off an injury. He was a starter for us last year, but I thought he played exceptionally well with the opportunities that he possessed. My quarterback didn't have the lights out game that he had the first game, but, I saw a lot of positives. I don't like to dwell on the negative. I saw some positive, and that's why I kept him in there, because I needed him to have some type of success to move forward, to keep that confident. And I thought, he just didn't get rattled at all. He just played football and stayed calm. On the defense side of the ball, I thought Trashard Smith flew around. The young man flew around and played exceptionally well for us. Of course, Jason Dumas is going to be there. He plays tough. So, it was some positive out of it. We didn't get what we want. The biggest accomplishment is always getting a win.
So you switch now and have your first home game back time since 2019 you get to have a home game. It seems like, I guess you had one in the spring a little bit there, but with the entire family back is a way I alluded to. Talk about this matchup.
Well, a lot of teams in the same conference kind of mimic one another. I always like to say it's a copycat league. What they did to us, you can rest assured that Houston Baptist is going to try as well because they had some success. But we happy to be home. I know the young men are happy to come home. I know we haven't played far away, but just to be home and not to have to travel at all, I think it's going to be great for us. But we're excited about it. Another opponent that's going to be challenging for us, and we'll be up for the challenge.
Go a little deeper into that when you talk about them possibly copy what they've seen with Incarnate Word. On the offensive side, looking at Houston Baptist, what are you expecting them to try to get done?
Well, I will say Incarnate Word have a very, very explosive offense, have a good quarterback there. I don't know if they have the same type of talent, but I do know Houston Baptist is going to want to throw the football around as well. Didn't have a lot of yards. When you look at that game, the score doesn't indicate what took place. We had more yards than them. We ran more plays than them. We had the same amount of first down. It's just we didn't put it in the end zone. That's the bottom line. You got to put it in the end zone.
Yeah.
So I expect them to try to throw the football around. They had some pretty good receivers and they had some big plays that they were able to make. So I can expect Houston Baptist. And now when you talk about the secondary and you talk about their defense, they just try to eliminate our big plays. The biggest thing is they focus on they wasn't going to let us get deep. So, those things you take heed to it and just got to go back to the drawing board and get those guys prepared and be ready to play another exciting football game.
Last question I have for you is to go a little deeper in terms of what you're able to do with offense. You continue to see your team improve on offense, and you've done that solid. Defensive side of the ball seems to be coming around. But offensively, are there some things that you think you can get done against Houston Baptist this week?
Yes, it is. I think we'll get back into who we are, and I think that we got to really get our running game going. We running the ball with a lot of different guys, but we got to be able to establish the run a lot better. I know it sounds strange coming from me because I do like to throw the football, but I'm going to be balanced, and I think we just got to get our running game going, and I think the guys are up for it and they understand what needs to be done. So we'll move forward with that. But, just the offense just have to settle down. Some guys, they're getting a chance to play and they got the experience and they're ready to go. I think we are coming together. I know we are coming together as one, and now I look for better results.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this week.
Thanks.
Any final questions for Coach Dooley? Coach Dooley, as always, we appreciate your time and we look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Thanks.
Thank you. We now go to Southern University. Head Coach Rollins. Do we have Coach on with us? All right, we're going to try to reach Coach Rollins there at Southern. Patience is greatly appreciated. Okay, I see Coach Rollins joining us here now. His audio is connecting. Good morning, Coach Rollins. Can you hear us? Good morning, Coach. Can you hear us? Coach Rollins, I believe you may be on mute. There you go. Can you hear us now, Coach?
Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem, Coach. And we're behind here, and we appreciate your patience with the call. So, Coach, as always, we appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule to join us here. Coach, obviously a big win there at home over Miles. If you could start us out with an opening statement about that game. Hey, Coach, can you hear us? I believe we may be having some issues with Coach's connection there. Coach?
Everyone's ready?
Yes, sir. Can you hear us, Coach? Coach, if you can start us out with an opening statement about your game.
Everyone's ready?
Yeah, Dr. Cavill, can you hear me speaking?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. I think it's on Coach's side.
I can hear you now.
Okay,
Yeah,
Coach,
go ahead.
If you can start us out, Coach, with an opening statement about your game against Miles.
Came out this Saturday night and played against a very tough physical Miles football team. They came in here and played a really good opponent last week against Alabama State, and we knew they were going to be tough and physical. And we came out, had a hard-fought victory, and came out at the end victorious.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. We'll up for questions for Coach Rollins. Our first question. First question goes to Jim Kleinpeter.
Hey, Coach, you're going against a coach who you've worked for, who you know well. How big is that? Does knowing him help you? Does him knowing you help him? How much do you put into that?
It's just what the film shows. You know, he knows me, I know him. But, you know, we were on the same staff. It's his team against our team. So it's what we put on film is what we're going to play against, and what we put on film is what they're going to play against. So it's just our guys against his guys.
Also, do you have a better idea of Jordan Lewis's status this week?
I hadn't checked just yet as far as is exactly what his status would be. We're hopeful that, but I hadn't checked into it.
Okay.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Rollins, I want to go back a little bit to the Miles College game. First half was back and forth, but you were able to pull away in the second half, third and fourth quarters. Can you talk a little bit more about the halftime adjustments? Anything particularly you did, or was it just the players maybe stepping up a little bit?
Well, just, you know, Miles didn't have a season the year before, so you don't have a lot of film on them because the team they only have one true game. So having one true game, so you had to go off that one game truly of a one-game breakdown, as opposed to going back almost 2 years to actually see who they really are or really were. And so, you know, we used that first half to kind of see exactly who they were, and then we can go in and make all of our adjustments so we could attack them going forward in the second half.
Follow up, move forward, obviously about McNair. In terms of this, just from a conference perspective, you have SWAC, the Southland in particular. You're going up against a in-state, if you allow me to use that framework for McNair State. Talk a little bit more about this matchup in itself.
It's a great matchup. You know, you have two very rich traditions going against each other. With McNair, who has a rich winning tradition, as well as us here at Southern, who has a rich winning tradition. So it's a great rivalry for this I-10 corridor. Great for two strong fan bases. So it's going to be an exciting ball game.
Talk about what's on film and playing each other. Can you tell me a little more defensively what they're bringing to the table, and at least some frameworks of how you're going to go up against?
Well, they are a big, physical, strong, athletic football team. So they're kind of a mirror image of us. So we kind of built the same way with big, fast, strong guys that can really run and play well in space. So it's going to be a good game of who's going to make open field tackles and who's going to make plays that comes to them.
Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on that victory. Can you just share your thoughts on McDaniel, Mr. Nelson, and also Mr. Ben, and how they competed and scored in that game?
Well, all three of those guys that you mentioned, they have a lot of experience in games. They practice so hard and they prepare so well. So there's no doubt whenever they get in the game and their numbers called, they're going to execute up to our standards. So really excited for Glendon McDaniel. He came in and did a really good job for us, leading us to victory, executing the game plan and stepping in and stepping up exactly. As far as Craig Nelson, he stepped up, had some explosive runs. He's the Craig that we see every day in practice. So it was good that everyone can actually see what he actually brings to the table.
Thank you, sir.
Next question goes to Jim Kleinpeter.
Yeah, Coach, I'm sure you noticed that Alcorn defeated Northwestern State, and then your matchup with McNeese is another SWAC Southland matchup. That had to make you feel good for the SWAC in general, and what are your thoughts along those lines?
It's always good that for our conference to do well out of conference. So that's always the plan, to do well out of conference, and then when we get in the conference, we battle each other, but we're each other's biggest fans when we play against out of conference opponents.
And what do you think about that, the matchup of the conferences? It's do you think the SWAC's on par with Southland?
Absolutely, as you just mentioned that Alcorn beat Northwestern State. So yes, I think we are.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Rollins, I just wanted to get your reflections on the recruiting. You hear a lot of times when teams that are in the same regions, when they have a chance to go heads up, it can be important on recruiting. Is that accurate in your opinion in terms of what that looks like? And if it is, can you share a little bit why that becomes important on the recruiting trails?
Very accurate. The best recruiting that you have is winning, and winning head to head also is a excellent recruiting tool. So if you sit in a kid's home and you say, well, I have this, I have that, but at the end of the day, they're going to ask, well, did you win the game? So it's about winning, and winning is always the final decision maker for the most part.
No problem. Appreciate you sharing that, Coach Rollins.
Any final questions for Coach? Final questions for Coach Rollins. Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. We now go to Texas Southern and TSU head coach Clarence McKinney. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Coach, appreciate your patience and always thank you so much for taking some time to join us. Coach, if you would please start us out with an opening statement recapping your team's most recent outing at Baylor.
Tough loss for us this weekend at Baylor. I stepped out of conference, went to a little Power 5 play in the Big 12. Thought our guys competed really well from start to finish. We were just outmanned and overmatched. We did see some improvements between from our week 1 to our week 2. Got an opportunity to play a lot of guys. Got an opportunity to see some guys do some things that we didn't know if they were ready to compete at that level just yet. But we're pleasantly surprised with what we saw, and we think we can build on our experiences going forward.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. We'll now open up for questions for Coach McKinney. Our first question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach McKinney, you talked about your team playing tough and hard, playing a Power 5 school in Baylor. It was evident in a lot of ways that they kept fighting and ultimately got a touchdown at the end of the game not to get out. Can you talk about why that's important to see and have your team pushing through all the way to the end of any game, this game in particular?
It's about dealing with adversity. We were outmanned going into the game, and just having some type of success with putting points on the board can help you build on and lead into your growth as a team going forward.
I want to follow up, talk about moving forward. Coming up, you have Rice, FBS program, not at the level necessarily of Baylor, but still a big-time Talk about what do you see looking at Rice?
We think we're a good matchup with Rice. We like our opportunities versus them. We think from a talent standpoint that we have some guys that are at that level of talent, and we feel like here's a game that we're going to have an opportunity to go in and get our season turned around with a win.
I know you have a week before that game. What are you going to do during open week in terms of moving forward?
The plan is to hopefully get some guys back healthy this week, get those guys, give them some rest, and the number of young guys we have, we're just going to practice and continue to compete with each other and get better as we go. As you know, we have a young team and young quarterbacks, and the best thing for those guys is to get reps. So we plan on getting a lot of reps in this week.
Thank you, Coach McKinney.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Coach, can you share your thoughts on the development of your quarterback, Mr. Brown, and what you see so far?
Yeah, I think he's developing into a pretty good quarterback, and the best thing for him to do is to play, though. And so he's had an opportunity to play a full game against Prairie View. We split reps in the Baylor game, and he's showed improvement from week to week. He's just got to continue to improve. I think he needs to show that he has the ability to keep plays alive and make plays when things break down. That's one of the biggest things that we're looking forward to him improving.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Currently taking questions for Texas Southern head coach Clarence McKinney. Any final questions for Coach? Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Hey, thank you for having us.
Thank you. Morning, Coach.
Appropriate. How you doing, everybody?
Doing great, Coach. As always, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent victory over Tennessee State.
First and foremost, Coach George his team was well prepared. They were excellent, well coached, fought to the end. We just played better on this particular day. We performed well in different aspects, offensive, defensively, and special teams. Led up at the end. I wasn't happy with that. Gave up a late touchdown. Got a little complacent. But overall, I'm happy with the W. But we can do much better. But had a great practice this morning. Can't wait to get out there and watch the film today and get out there tomorrow. Well, I'm tremendously happy with what we're doing and what we're trying to accomplish here for the SWAC, as well as HBCUs.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. We'll now open up for questions for Coach. Our first question goes to Tolly.
Hey, Coach. Good morning, sir.
How you doing, boss?
Good, good. Just looking at the game as a fan, the last 2 weeks have really felt like big stages, big atmosphere, big time, and it's really been a pleasure as a fan. I checked my Deion Sanders Google alerts, and you were trending this morning. The Florida State fans were kind of looking over the fence. They kind of like what you're doing as well. When you look at the way that has gone, is this how you have envisioned it? The vibe, the feel? Do you still think there's more to accomplish? Outside of the X's and O's, how do you look at how things have gone so far in the first couple of weeks?
I think with your statement, first of all, thank you. Thank you tremendously. You're a friend, not just a man that's really good at what you do. But I really believe. That's not a joke. Like when I said I believe, day one, I really believe. I didn't stutter, nor did I stumble when I said it. I didn't flinch. I didn't blink. I really, truly believe. I believe in the coaches. I believe in the staff, our support staff. I got on their butts this morning. I mean, I'm talking about trainers, equipment, personal security, everything. We're trying to step up the game because we're getting to the point where God has brought us to be sort of the model of how things should be done and how things are going to be done. And I believe, man, I'm not surprised at what's going on and what's transpiring. Are we where we want to be? No. Are we better than we were? Yes. But we still have a long way to go, not only all on the field endeavors, off the field endeavors as well. I got to get these kids married and partnered with Fortune 500 companies, the kids that's not going to go in the draft. I got to get these guys jobs, man, and careers, six figures employment. Not employer. When they have a career, it's not a job. A career is totally different than a job. Job just pays you enough to get back and forth. I'm talking about a career. So it's so many different things that we're doing and we're trying to accomplish. And I'm excited about every bit of it. I really am, man. So when I see 46,000, Coach George and I talked last night about that. We're thankful, we're appreciative, but we want to do more. We want it to be bigger and grander and better, and a commitment to excellence. Coach George and I talked for quite a while last night just about both teams, what I could do better, what he could do better, what we could present better, what we could do more of. That's the kind of thought process that we have. And that's the kind of thoughts that we're bringing to HBCU football.
One quick football question, and I'll go. Shedeur, his ability in the pocket. Can you just talk about what having a pocket quarterback and looking to stay in there and make the throw and not looking to run so fast, what that does for your offense?
Well, the thing about it, every position in FCS or as well as HBCU say they want to go to the next level. Well, the only guy that's doing that foolishness at the next level is Lamar Jackson, and because he's one of the best ever that can throw the ball as well as run the ball effectively. Other than that, it does not happen. It's not going to happen for you. So having a quarterback that looks to throw the ball first, and then if you ever get down by 14, you still have a chance because he could spin it. That's a tremendous asset. When I thought about raising my kids, I want to raise my kids as professionals, man. So, and I've been in the game at the highest point. So when I see a quarterback, I'm thinking, shoot, the Bradys, the Montanas, the Troy Aikmans, I'm thinking those type guys. I'm not thinking the other stuff. I'm not thinking that. When I think about a safety in Shiloh, raising him, I'm thinking, hey, man, that's Ed Reed, man. It's Ronnie Lott. That's where we start, you know. So we always have the commitment to the excellence, and I give them the goals to shoot at the excellence. Then we start with that being our goal. We don't start here and be appreciative that we're dominant here. He still has a long way to go. We still find holes in his game and reads that he could make it a little quicker, but he practices like that. Like they practice that way. We can't fathom to see a play in the game that we hadn't seen in practice. Mr. Bishop is on here. He could tell you, like, we practice. This is the way we practice. So when you see it in the game, all it is we're dressed and showing the world how we practice. That's how we get down and practice.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this week, man.
Appreciate you.
Next question goes to Charles Bishop.
Good afternoon, Coach. How are you doing?
How you doing, boss?
I wanted to ask a little bit about Warren Newman. He had a tremendous game. He was named Specialist of the Week this past week for the SWAC. But talk about his impact on the program.
Warren Newman is a kid that you try to out-recruit him. You try to bring guys in there to force him out, to sit him down, and he won't let you. You bring receiver after receiver after receiver, specialists, punt returners. You got guys with tremendous ability, and he refuses to let you outwork him and outplay him. And he finds himself always in the position where he's on the field, and he's going to make a play. That size is definitely a disadvantage for him, and he's one of the guys that I aforementioned. I pray to God he gets a shot at the league, but I want him to get a shot at really making six figures for the rest of his life, because he's always on time. He's smart. He's disciplined. He's tough-minded. He's a father. He's a father, and a darn good father for what I see. And I love this kid, man. He's a worker, and he wants it. So he's been here to see the transition and see the greatness of what God has brought to this program through resources, and when he didn't have them. Now he's one of the most appreciative young men that's on our roster, and I'm proud of him. And having SWAC Special Teams Player of the Week, first of all, tell me this. Has there ever been SWAC offensive, defense, and special teams player of the week for one school?
That is a great question, Coach.
I need an answer. I don't need it.
That could be a
Somebody
first.
got to tell me something. We got SWAC offensive, defense, and special teams. Lord, if y'all ain't gonna clap, I clap for myself. I'm gonna clap for JSU, baby. I'm clapping for us. Ain't nobody gonna clap. Amen. That our kids. I love our babies. Good Lord. Thank you, coaches, everybody. That's a blessing right there. You don't have to act like you ain't with us. You with us, Charles. You don't have to act like, I know you're trying to act professional and all that, not to smile, baby. You with us. You part of us. Let's go. There you go. There you go. My bad. Let me digress and get back to
Let me follow up with a real quick football question, Coach. From your vantage point, what is the anatomy of getting this FCS win over an FBS opponent this week?
I don't care who they are. I really don't. Winning is winning. I don't care what plate you serve it on. Formidable opponent. First of all, let's get that straight. It's going to be very emotional because we're going to celebrate my late great head coach Bobby Bowden, and I think we're going to wear a decal on both teams want to wear a decal on their helmets to commemorate that. But we just want to go out there and execute, do what we're blessed to do. Excel. We're going to find out who some players really are this week because you're going to have a real formidable opponent that we supposed to lose by all accounts. We don't supposed to be in this game, right? We getting paid to get beat, right? We getting paid to get beat.
Yes, sir.
We'll see how that works out.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
Got time for 2 more questions. Next question goes to Kendrick Marshall.
How you doing, Coach?
Who's that? I don't see a picture.
I was Kendrick with HBCU Sports.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You're all right. Yeah, a 2-part question for you. You're going to be playing your first FBS opponent, and there's been a lot of discussion about how much these games matter or benefit to HBCUs. Can you just talk about that? And also, over the weekend, before the game, you had one of your players.
Give me one at a time, because I'm getting old. I'm 54, man. I can only remember one at a time. Let me address the first one. HBCUs playing against FCS. Normally, you just get paid to go get beat, right? That's really the goal. Like somebody pays you, your program makes a little more money than they normally will to go get your butt kicked. I don't believe in that. I don't know how that helps anybody because normally when you play against a powerhouse, like I see some of the HBCU schools are taking it, it helps the budget, but it kills the morale. How can getting your butt kicked, I mean really kicked, help you as a team? Financially, cool. All money ain't good money. All money ain't good money. So I don't know what has gone on in the past and what this is supposed to be, but I'm new to this. I'm still learning this. So I plan on going there and put our best foot forward and our players playing their best game possible and coming out of there with a win. That's our plan.
Okay. And my second question was about Donald Turley. He gave an address before the game Saturday about 9/11. So what does it mean to you and the team and just his story about being an ex-military guy playing college football?
I think he was in Kuwait this time last year, wasn't he? He's overseas somewhere. I mean, it was unbelievable. And what he's brought to our team is as far as the leadership, as far as the respect level that the young man has for him is unbelievable. He's spoken to our team on several occasions for in front of all of them, and he challenges them. And he's so appreciative. He's so thankful of just this opportunity. So having him speak before the game was epic. And he did a phenomenal job. We captured most of it for you and put it on social so you can see what he said when he addressed the team.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you, sir.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Coach Prime, I hope you and the Jackson State University Nation are well. Have a question regarding HBCU sports and so far what that means to you personally. I know when you were at Florida State, it was right down the street over at FAM, but now that you've been back and you're coaching it, it's got to be a beautiful thing. What's it like for you personally?
It's beautiful. It's hard to explain. It's hard to fathom. It's hard to really articulate because you got to be in it. You really got to be in it. Yeah, I went to Florida State, but I was never able to attend a game at FAM. Yeah, we went to FAMU campus to check out the girls, and I ended up marrying one. My first wife was from FAM. Yeah, all that's wonderful, but until you get and understand the culture, the pageantry, the motivation, the hype, when you put it in stadiums and seeing all our people walk in unison and unity and going back and forth, yelling about this school and that school, I love it. And Coach George bringing a whole nother element, because we're friends, but when we get on the field, we're going to be enemies, but we still going to have love for one another shortly thereafter. It's unbelievable. And for me as a coach and for me as a father, that was the biggest crowd. My son was used to playing not in front of 1,000 people. Shador's never played in front of nothing like that at our high school. So 46,000 people, man, at HBCU game. Do they do that in FCSs? I don't think they do that. And we're able to attract that many people as well as eyeballs television-wise. This is a blessing, man. It's a new day. And I'm thankful and I'm happy to be part of change.
Thank you, sir. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Last question goes to Ty Miller.
Hey, Coach, good morning to you. How are you?
Good.
Coach, you mentioned that your team got a bit lax in the fourth quarter against Tennessee State. And I want to ask you, how much of a jump did they take in the first 2 weeks? Because a lot of coaches talk about the fact that their teams take a jump between weeks 1 and 2.
I don't know what you mean by jump. Explain it for me.
In terms of improvement.
Oh, improvement. We didn't improve defensively. We improved tremendously offensively. We just hit some things that we should have hit week 1. But that's a tribute to the defensive FAMU. But I think we digressed a bit defensively. Special teams, we played much better. We still missed a darn field goal. That's not good. Well, punting game got better. Kicking game got much better, but we also returned a punt for a touchdown. Individually, I think some guys fared better, but as a team, we got like a daisical. We didn't have killer instinct. We should have put them away. We should have never fumbled in the first place to give Tennessee State the ball back, and they hit a big play. And then it's time for the prepare for our own side kick team. And we had a couple guys forget to go out there because they was over in celebration mode. So that kind of foolishness that I can't tolerate. That's not an identity of a championship level team, and we got to do better with that.
What do you expect from a Terry Bowden coach team? You mentioned them earlier.
Discipline, tough, tenacious, understand how to overcome adversity. They'll be well prepared. They're going to be well coached. Technique is going to be in the fundamentals of the game will be taught, and I'm sure that's what they're teaching. And that means we got to get out fast. We got to get out fast. We got to go there not enamored with the stage, but understanding that we belong here. We're not here for payday. We belong.
Okay, Coach. And finally, if you've taken a look at the Kentucky tape, what sticks out about the Warhawks for you?
Say that.
If you've taken a look at their tape against Kentucky, their first game against Kentucky,
yes.
What sticks out about you? Because there seem to be some opportunities in the defensive backfield and also coming off the edge defensively.
Well, there's opportunities everywhere with every team. You just got to have the personnel to expose them. I mean, you can look at any tape and say, well, there's opportunities right here, but do you have a person that's opportunistic that can take advantage of that? I like what we have, man, and our guys are still growing. I think we brought 3 guys defensively that didn't even make the trip week 1. We brought a few more guys offensively that didn't make the trip week 1. So we're still adding because they got to earn it in practice. And if they don't practice, they're not going to play. And they don't perform well in practice, they're not going to start. That's how we go about our practice and the thought process of building up to Saturday. Saturday starts today, man. Don't start on Saturday. It starts today.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you, sir.
Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking with you.